Thanks for listening on 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. If you're over there in the Heisen Lincoln Law Firm chat, good day. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Enjoy. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. And away we go. Man, busy weekend, fun weekend. Tommy, how you doing, baby?
Man, I'm good. I'm happy with the split. Sad that we can't ever just play a 3-game series like, the good old days of baseball everywhere else in the country, but Tallahassee. But I think it was very smart. I don't know if it was because of NC State's travel restrictions. Maybe there was a curfew or something along those lines. But I think it was very nice that they played a single game yesterday instead of us having to worry about how many bullpen arms would not walk the world yesterday. So good job getting the split. We're still on track, but it would be nice to play a Friday game, a Saturday game, and a Sunday game any day now, anytime now.
It's the damnedest thing. I was there tailgating on Saturday. My son, my dad, my nephew were all in town. We got to see Johnny Mack and Rob and everybody over there. A big salute to the Animals tailgate. Had a great time. We were all set for Saturday, going into the stadium, ready to watch some baseball, especially after the night before the Friday game, which was crazy in terms of it was a weird game. I said the game was drunk. You had all kinds. What NC State finished with? 7 infield hits? It was just a bizarre game. You had the long delay. Any sort of in college baseball, it's real. I do say this. It's a lot different than pro baseball. It's real that there is a home field advantage in college baseball. You watch kids subject to the whims of emotion and the shifts in momentum and all those things. It affects college pitchers tremendously, and with that delay, I think some of that was minimized late. There were like 15 people still in the stands when this thing got close quick after the long-ass delay. Also, I don't know, man. I get in trouble for this. I've said it before at a football game. I said it, and people got mad at me. I don't know. I don't know how we survived in our youth, Tom. I don't know how we made it. I don't know how in the world I played a bunch of sports in high school and in middle school, and somehow none of us got struck by lightning because Lord knows we never canceled games. There was not one game in the history of my time at Lakewood High School or Bay Point Middle School or any other city league that I was in, not one ever got canceled. Doesn't mean there shouldn't have been some that it should have been canceled, but not once. And I must have been 30 years old the first time I ever went to a football game in which they delayed it because of lightning. Like, how old were you? Well, it's different. It's been your era that this has happened. I went to see the Broncos versus the Raiders in 2000, and I would say that's like 08, 07, something like that. And that game got delayed by 2 hours because of lightning. I think it's the first time I ever remember it happening, ever. And now, man, if there's lightning in Georgia, we are halting play. There's no chance we're playing. And it's frustrating. I don't blame FSU. I don't blame anybody. It sucks that happened. And then Saturday, I don't know, Tom. I mean, the field conditions were messed up, is what I'm told.
Yeah.
Well, how? You had all day to fix that. What are we doing?
I have no idea what happened there, but they showed film of it during yesterday's game on ESPN, on the ACC Network stream, and you could see that the infield had all kinds of weird-looking clumps in it and stuff. That was the reason that they delayed the game to begin with, and then they saw the weather that was coming behind it. So that was the reason for the combination saying Ixnay on the Saturday game. So it was field conditions, then it was weather, but I don't know. The weather stuff started when I was first covering the team. Well, it was much more prevalent when I first started covering the baseball team 15 years ago, and the regionals were famous for it. I mean, even before that, but I mean, you would go to a regional weekend, regular regional, not super, expecting there to be a delay at some point across the games with the 4 teams playing. And it was just a matter of, do you go into a 4th day of play? And it was an annual occurrence. And it got more regular for football as time went on. There was a run there for many years where the Buccaneers were in week 1 and they would play, for whatever reason, a 4:25 kick, in week 1. And they played teams from the East Coast, West Coast, didn't matter. There is not a worse time you could kick off in Tampa in September than 4:25 p.m. That's when all the storms roll in. Makes little to no sense. But for baseball, regional play, that's a normal thing with lightning. never seen a field delay before, especially since the field was good to go by Sunday. So very strange.
Yeah, and Keith, I see your comments yeah, man, it's a serious thing. I don't want anybody to get struck by lightning, get hurt by lightning. I mean, we've had stories regionally. I think no matter where you live, especially though, if you live in the South near the summertime or in the summertime, there's a story once a year where somebody gets hurt or killed. Obviously, it's serious. I don't mean to make light of it, but in terms of when you stop games and when you delay games, it seems at times inconsistent. In addition, I don't know, man. When I check the radar, just like everybody else, and I don't see a lightning strike within 4 or 5 miles of the stadium, and we're delaying games, I don't know, man. We're not talking about 400 yards. We're talking about 5 miles. What are we doing? But enough of me bitching about that. Doesn't really matter. It was what it was. I'll be honest with you. It really kind of worked out in Florida State's favor. This whole situation on Sunday worked out in Florida State's favor because NC State was as good as getting their ass kicked in that game. They were dead in the water once this happened. Clinton, appreciate you with the super sticker. Awfully kind. He's just steady super stickering us here, and I appreciate that. I want to answer a question for him if he has one, or if he just wants to keep super stickering, we'll do it. Yeah, the Tom Brady roast was great. Clinton, I saw it. Can't really talk about it here because the jokes wouldn't work on the air here, but if you haven't seen it, it was good. It was good. I was wondering when they'd get there. If they would get there, would we get the massage parlor reference? And we did. We got it. It was there. It happened right in the man's face. I mean, the owner is right there wearing that massage joke. It was wonderful. I'm like, whoo, this is getting touchy. A little weird. Got to get uncomfortable. Back to this for a second. The by not playing Saturday, you were loaded for bear on Sunday. You were good to go. You felt like, oh, okay, so we get our normal number 2 starter and then a bunch of arms that can go because they didn't have to pitch yesterday and what would have been, or the day before, which might have been a hodgepodge of a bunch of relievers, and you would have had virtually nobody left. We know what Sundays look like is the point. We know what the hell Sundays look like around here for this bullpen that gets utilized to try to take the series on Friday, Saturday. And by the way, I suspect no matter the reason, lightning, pending rain perhaps could be here in the next 6 hours. Not sure we want to play because it could rain today at 4. All right, whatever the reason, NC State's bullpen is garbage too. So Elliott Avett probably didn't want that either. I'm sure both sides were like, listen, I hear you, coach. Loud and clear. Let's just push to Sunday and play 1. Yes, let's do that, guys. Let's do that. You can almost picture Link and Elliott in the meeting. Well, I don't know about you, but I mean, if the kid's safety's in the stand, do you want to maybe? Do I want to what? I mean, do you want to push it all to Sunday and maybe do what? Play 1? Oh, that's not a bad idea now that you bring it up. I think both sides were like, that's right. Let's just play the 1. Let's just play the 1. Sounds good. Safety. Sounds good. We got, that. And listen, travel. What are you going to do? Yep. We're going to play 1. And, since we're only playing 1, we don't need to start at 11. Push it to 12. Hell, push it to 1. Whatever you want to do. Just whatever you want to do. Let's just play the 1. And we'll get out of here by 4. We're all good. We're all good. So it worked out. You only needed to split. They split. And, I thought that there was some chutzpah moments from Carson, who didn't have his most electrifying stuff. He was wild. I will tell you, I start to think about, okay, what are we? What is Florida State? So they're on the verge. We're this close now, are the Noles, to being a top 8 national seed and hosting. And it's really going to come down to, and I think we all know this, how quickly and how healthy and what role are the guys that are out from the pitching staff, how quickly and how healthy and how much can they give you when they come back. And I'm talking about obviously Leiter and Whitaker and Ben Barrett. I mean, Ben Barrett did give you the 4 pitches this time around. So we're getting there, Tom. We went from 2 to 4. Next outing might get 6 pitches out of Ben Barrett. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe 8. If we keep doubling, maybe 8 pitches out of Ben Barrett. Who knows? By the time we get to the postseason, You might get 20 pitches. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't know what it's going to be. Obviously, we had Coach Posey on the show this past week on Friday, and he was great. He's always candid. I love the way that he answers questions. He's not afraid of anything. You can ask him anything. So, I mean, maybe we'll have him back next week, and I'll say, where are we at? The ramp-up process. Are we on stage 5 yet? Have we reached stage 6 of the ramp-up yet? When does the actual you're allowed to pitch in a game part of that ramp-up hit us? And what do we make of it? Because I think, all jokes aside, this team is really good. And the reason I think they're really good, one, we all know, they can hit the baseball. They hit, and they're fun to watch hit. They work pitchers. They hit the other way. They do a lot of smart things at the plate. They can hit for power, obviously. But most notably to me, because it has been absent for some time now, and my God, was it a sight for sore eyes this year. And on Sunday, it really was on display. Tom, they pick up the baseball, buddy. They pick up the baseball. And you know, people are so tired of me beating that drum. I've talked about it for years. That for years, almost to the detriment of the offense back in the day, the one thing you knew you were going to have at Florida State, as long as Mike Martin was the coach, was, quote, pitching and defense. Until you didn't. And once it left us, you realized how hurtful it was to watch a team just not make routine plays or even plus plays. Now they largely make all the routine plays and sprinkle in some plus plays every weekend. And they also, once again, outside of Friday night's game, which was a little weird, I called that game drunk. I'll stand by that. Strange game. They also, for the most part, really run the bases very well. Very well. They stole a run in this game on Sunday, doing exactly that. On an errant throw from NC State, which should have been a double play, you still run. You come around third hard, making sure that you got a chance on any mishap to score. And it happened, and you stole a run there. And all of a sudden, 3 to 4 runs in an inning as opposed to 1 to 2 because of something like that is a big deal. So they do so many things well. I think they're very, 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 very good. But I do think they're limited if they do not get something in the remainder of the season, and especially in the postseason, out of Leiter and Whitaker. They've got to find a way to get those guys back. Obviously, Ben Barrett would continue to be a plus if they can get him worked in from the right side.
Yeah, the thing to me is they've got the capability of getting the big out when they need to yesterday. Like that is something that you're going to have to be able to draw upon, because as your opponents get better and better down the stretch here, ACC tournament, regional, if you can make it past a regional into a super regional, not every inning is going to go smoothly, even if you get completely healthy. And so you could have first and second, 1 out, and you need somebody to roll over in that situation because you're up 3-1. And if the rally keeps going, then this thing spirals and they get into your bullpen early. You're going to need somebody to make a big catch in the outfield to get a good jump on a ball. Ross made a great catch yesterday, got another big play in the infield to get us out of an inning and out of a jam. Big pitches need to be made confidence-wise for a guy like Dorsey to be able to execute those pitches. You want to be able to draw on clutch, key situations against real opponents as you get into more important games down the stretch. And they were able to do that yesterday. It looks like you cruise in the box score, but there were a lot of moments where this game could have been very, very close. Or dare I say, maybe if all the things went against you, it goes the other way. So it just, I like to see those moments because there are going to be more of them. And you hope that there are as many as possible at Hauser Stadium. You keep winning series like this or splitting series in this case like you did this weekend, you're going to play a regional and a super regional at Hauser, but you got to be able to come up with big pitches in big situations, and you can't shrink in the moment. So yesterday was a good passing of a test to build the confidence necessary to be able to win high-stakes games in just a month from now. It's crazy. Memorial Day Monday is when they do the selection. That's really not that far away.
No, it's exciting. I think this is, once again, we start to hone in on the possibilities. It's really about how close are they to being a team that makes a serious run to Omaha and maybe wins a national title. Remember, that's the one feather in the cap that's missing for Florida State baseball. The legacy of Florida State baseball is a whole bunch of wins and a whole lot of great series victories and a whole lot of postseason victories and a whole lot of moments in time that we all celebrate together, except for the last one. And that's, I know, sitting around wishing for a championship or bust is an awfully tough way to be a fan. But when you show that you're a good team, and they haven't been in some time, so now that they are, we know they are. It's just like, okay, how good are you? Now, baseball is fickle. You could be the best team in the country and lose in a regional. Happens all the time. We've seen one seeds bounced in super regionals and sub regionals. So like, the way they used to call them. Anyhow, that's it happens. But you just want to put yourself in the best possible position to succeed. And when you know you have, Tom, like you're talking about, these guys that could extend to where the bullpen is not an albatross. Right now, you don't trust that on the road. If Florida State has to go on the road and take on a Texas A&M or an Arkansas or something like that, and what those atmospheres will be like, for the right to go to Omaha, right now you don't trust that bullpen to come in and get outs as it's currently constructed with these guys not participating. Now, if all of a sudden I've got 3 more arms, all plus arms that I can count on, and everybody else gets slotted where they need to be, like a Holtz or an Ox, you're like, okay, now I feel very good about everybody's role, what you need to be, what I'm asking you to be, you've shown you can do. Otherwise, you're going to have to ask some guys in big moments, probably on the road at some point, against a really loaded offense to get huge outs that they really haven't consistently shown that they can get. So you'll have very limited expectations as to a championship. But hey, it's not lost on me. We're talking about a team that is going to be hosting and is going to be a top 8 national seed. I feel comfortable saying that. I think they're going to be. And that's exciting. Very exciting. Well,
yeah, and your team ops is nearly 1,000. That's the whole thing, is if you can find those arms, slot them into the right positions, you trust your bats. You trust, Cam's a special player. He's gotten better defensively too, but just talking about this lineup, Dinges is really good. I thought, Lodi's had a couple of really good at-bats this weekend.
It's important for Lodi's to have big at-bats this weekend, Tom. Those 2 doubles were huge. He had a couple of other great at-bats, you're right, because in conference play, he was hitting sub 150.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Now, yeah, he hit well against the Gators for a couple early impressions, but who doesn't on a Tuesday night? Who doesn't hit well against Florida in a midweek situation? So maybe that's not that impressive at all. But you're seeing signs that, again, these bats, they went through a little bit of a lull, even though they might have been producing more runs. Tibbs had a bit of a downturn, but he's climbing back up towards 400 for the season again. Cam has been, I think, a little bit more consistent in that regard. But you're seeing the signs that the lineup will be long again down the stretch. And if they are, then you really need, what do you think? 5, 6 pitchers you really believe in, a couple of guys that depends on the day. That might be enough to get you through a set. As long as in regional weekend, that's more dangerous, actually. At regional, you got to win game 1 and stay out in front of it. I almost feel like if you can get to a super regional setting, it's a more controlled environment because you might not have an extra game, the weather delays, the staggering, doubling up on a given day to stay alive. If you stay out in front of it in a regional setting, I think 5 to 6 arms is really what you need. And you're not that far away if you can get some dudes healthy.
Hold your breath. Coming down the stretch. It's just good to be talking about games that are going to freaking matter with a team that's really good and equipped to do something about it. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Attention, Florida. Are you a victim of an auto accident? We introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Lika Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Hyson Lika Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first with Hyson Lika Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733 now or visit HysonLikaLawFirm.com. Hyson Lika Law Firm, your advocate in times of need.
Whenever you encounter an interior problem, Paul's technicians are there, usually the same day you call, and there is no extra charge. With ProShield, you'll never pay extra for providing the service we promised. Pest prevention for your home, and we'll be there as many times as needed to honor our commitment with no extra charge. Paul's Termite and Pest Control is a local company that proudly served the Tallahassee area for over 50 years.
For the elimination of termites and any other pests.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
And we make lawns greener, too.
Zaxby's has been perfecting chicken fingers for 30 years. So what now? Now, we go to the sea. Introducing the Southern Fried Shrimp Meal. With butterflied shrimp that's perfectly golden fried. A perfect blend of cocktail sauce and Zax sauce that we call Zax Tail Sauce. Plus perfectly seasoned crinkle fries. Perfectly buttery Texas toast. And even a drink with perfectly pebbled ice. Here's to 30 more years of perfect. The new Southern Fried Shrimp Meal at Zaxby's. Woo, saucy! Zaxby's.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can build them to the test.
Your heating and air conditioning system doesn't check with you before it takes a break. That's why we're always ready to help. Any day, anytime, anywhere. And with our annual service agreement, there are no overtime charges. Ever. At Verno Heating and Air, we will always be there for you.
Barry knows heating and air conditioning.
License CC 1816186.
Hey, I'm Chris Young, and here's what's happening on the next Bud & Broadway show.
Hey, are you ready to see Christopher Reeve as Superman and Adam West as Batman all in the same movie?
That would be cool. We're going to have another round of questionable opinions from Twitter for you.
And we'll get you all caught up and up to date on the drama surrounding my son Grayson's prom date.
You probably already know that Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is your one-stop destination for all pool maintenance needs, offering everything you need from chemicals, cleaners, vacuums, nets, and more. But that's not all. Pinch a Penny also carries a huge selection of premium hot springs hot tubs paired with easy financing options, making these luxury hot tubs affordable for everyone. And if you have an older hot tub and you're worried about the hassle of removing it, worry no more. Pinch a Penny will not only remove and haul away your old hot tub, but also offer a trade-in value for a credit towards your new one. So why wait? Visit Pinch a Penny's 12,000 square foot showroom today on Greer Road and discover how effortless and affordable owning a fantastic hot tub can be. Find out more at TallahasseeHotSpring.com. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com.
Science-backed, technology tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Attention, Florida. Heads up. If you're a victim of an auto accident, we introduce our live chat sponsor, Hyson Legal Law Firm, dedicated to representing injured clients statewide. If you've been in an accident, call Hyson Legal Law Firm at 813-803-0733 for a free consultation. Remember, there's no cost to you unless they win. Your interests come first at Hyson Legal Law Firm, the name you can trust for justice. Call 813-803-0733 now or visit HysonLegalLawFirm.com. That's Hyson Legal Law Firm. Your advocate in times of need. Offices Tampa. We appreciate them and all of you in the Hyson Legal Law Firm chat. In fact, before I go on to the next subject, just saw a few of you in here. Yeah, listen, don't get me wrong. A couple of you guys are concerned with elements of the team or defensively. You noted catcher. Listen, we are average behind the dish defensively. I got to tell you that they have their moments where you're like, okay, because we can be pretty wild, and you're watching either of our catchers having to jump all around and make plays and keep it in front of them. But they have their days, too, where you realize it's a bit of a weakness on the team. And listen, while we're at it, it's not a bunch of Willie Mazes out there in the outfield. Now, you understand that, especially when Max is playing, you don't have the three outfielders are average at best. Now, I will say Tibbs has come a long way, and he's certainly better out and right than he was at first. And he has come an awful long way. They're just adequate. We're not out here. Now, Yamez Ross made a great play, and he is certainly a plus defender, not a plus hitter. So you lose something when you have him out there. It's nice that you have him to come in after Williams gets hit and is, I thought he broke his hand. I was so pissed in the moment. But luckily, those x-rays have come back negative and he's fine, and they took him out for precautionary reasons. But you're going to give to get. If you pull him out, you're losing offense for defense. And even still, I think that group is just merely adequate in the outfield. They're plus defenders right now in the infield, especially up the middle. They've been very, very good. And Cam has come a long way, as Tom pointed out, at third base. Weird game Friday. I don't think that is indicative of the way the team has played. Again, that was a game in which I thought baseball was drunk on Friday with all the delays and the weirdness. And no team, I don't care if they're the fastest team on earth. I don't care if it's the 82 Cardinals on AstroTurf. You ought not be able to get 6 or 7 infield hits. Just bizarre. Certain things rolling a certain way, placed a certain way. Then I think it kind of manifests itself in weird ways too, where you start to feel pressure to make that play. It's like when guys start missing free throws and you're an 85% free throw shooter and the guys in front of you have missed a bunch in a row, and now we're in the second half of a game and it's tight, and the team's shooting 40% from the free throw line, and you're like, now I got to step up and make these free throws, and I ordinarily make these free throws, but nobody else is making free throws today, and it's probably going to be the reason we lose. So all of a sudden, the feeling that I've got to make these free throws changes me from an 85% free throw shooter to a 77% free throw shooter because of the added pressure. I thought you saw some of that weirdness taking place on Friday. So I don't really look at that game and say, yeah, that's who they are, because they haven't been. If you've watched the totality of the games, you know they're good defensively. They are. They just are. You can just say it. So it is, remember, do this when you're, first of all, breathe. I say this to our fan base all the time. Our fan base in baseball often, not all people and not everybody in every moment does this, of course. They bring a football mentality to baseball, which drives me nuts because the two sports couldn't be more different. Bad teams, and NC State's not a bad team, but bad teams beat good teams in baseball all the time. All the time. It's a weird sport. I could square it up 16 times in a game, and if 14 of those 16 happen to be right at somebody, it's a long day at the office. I could be facing a pitcher who comes into the game at 3-7 on the year with a 6.52 and think, should be an easy day at the office. Oh, but this is the day that he's got 3 for strikes and he's painting. Okay, all right. Oh, look at this. The reliever for NC State on Friday night. Kid hadn't done anything all year. Untouchable. Dude was, for a good stretch, untouchable. And these are good pitches to good hitters who we know are good hitters. It happens. It happens. Okay, switch gears. I don't know whether to be excited or sad. I saw this. I don't know if you saw it, Tom. Maybe it's the best way to look at it if we're going to do the glasses half full approach. But I saw Phil Steele tweeted today. The Phil Steele tweeted today. We know we've entered into the offseason officially when you start hearing Phil Steele's name at all, or any other outlets, right?
You don't hear much from Phil Steele in, say, November when they're determining who the playoff teams are. That's not really his season, is it?
No, it's the offseason when you hear about Phil Steele. And it's hard because you know it intellectually. You already know that. But then there's a Phil Steele tweet. And you're like, oh, you just confirmed what I've already been pushing away, denying. But Phil tweeted out a big thanks to Florida State head coach Mike Norvell. He added him for taking an hour to go over his FSU football team with me today. Hashtag Knoll family, hashtag keep climbing. And he also gave a doff of the cap to Derek, which was nice of him to throw Derek in there too. There you go, Derek. The great Phil Steele is at you as well. There you go. So what does that mean? Well, it means that obviously it's official. Tough times out here, kids. For those of us waiting on football, that's what it means. But it also means that, okay, this begins the whole, we're about to get to 100 days. I've kind of celebrated this over the years. It's almost like the NFL draft. It's gotten to be more of a celebration each time it comes up because some years, Tom, you never know. We remember the old debate we got in on the JCS. How you phrase things matters. So when you say something's 100 days away, it feels like a long ways away. Feels like it could be interminable. If you say that something's, 15 weeks away, does that sound worse?
I think 15 weeks sounds worse than 100 days.
Okay. All right. So I'm just trying to play with
100 days. 3 months, I think, sounds worse than 100 days, even though that's not even close. 100 days is a lot more. 3 months just sounds a lot far. A day, I think it's because the increment of the day is a hell of a lot shorter.
Okay. All right. So it's funny because I go through the exercise with you and everybody else every year. When we get it down to under 3 months, and now you can go and utilize the weeks, Tom. If you get to, I want to say, what do you think? What's the magic number to flip it to weeks? Sub double digits? 9 weeks?
6. 6 weeks is precise. 7 weeks is too much. 'Cause 7 weeks you'd say 50 days, and 50 days feels a lot better than 7 weeks.
You think so?
Yes. 50 days instead of 7 weeks? Absolutely. Because 7 weeks, 49 days. 50 days, I give you one bonus. That's what I'm saying. Even 100 days is better than 3 months to me. 100 days. Even though 3 months could be 90 days, or it could be 92 days, or 91 days, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
100 days feels better than 3 months. That's 3 very long increments of time. 100 days, a day's a day. They go quick.
Well, the game has officially begun. We're not at 100 days yet, but when we get there, I don't like saying that it's closer to 4 months than 3. You know what? You don't like to do. Yeah, see what I mean? That'll hurt your feelings. I just know that I think once we get into the 8 weeks, 7 weeks territory, it starts being good. Anyhow, saw that today, and I thought, all right, it's official, guys. So we'll start having to do some interviews. We'll start taking a look around the conference, taking a look around the country, seeing who we can bring in from the On3 network and those outside the On3 network. I mentioned last week, I think I'm going to have Eric McClain on. We're going to talk all things ACC and football in general. Should be a lot of fun. So, we'll have to start doing it. But this is where we get through it together, guys. We all get through it together. You know what else we do? We take vacation. Not together, but we take vacations. So you go on your little vacations. I'll go on my little vacations. I'm talking about all you go on your vacations. That's what we got to do. That'll minimize. That'll shorten. You can do it. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Construction on Tallahassee's Railroad Avenue project is entering the next phase. Starting this morning, Railroad Avenue from Gain Street to the railroad crossing will be closed for around 45 days. During the new phase, construction crews will be laying down new storm drains and waterline infrastructure. Those traveling in the area should expect to see crews active from 7:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, as well as 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturdays. Motorists trying to go from Gain Street to FAMU Way will need to drive to South Adams Street, turn south, and turn west onto FAMU Way. A second senior center is on its way to the capital city. The city of Tallahassee celebrated the groundbreaking of its second senior center. It is expected to be located on Oolani Boulevard. The $25 million center is slated to house multiple pickleball, basketball, and volleyball courts. Construction of the new facility is expected to be completed by the fall of 2025. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by McLemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at mclemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Slight chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. High temperatures reach up to 90. Winds out of the south, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies tonight. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Lows dip down to about 68. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow. Highs around 89. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 85.
Where is the best place to find Michelin, Firestone, Dunlop, Goodyear, and Bridgestone tires? Nice Tire and Auto Service. Where's the best full-service auto center? Nice Tire and Auto Service. They do everything from computerized alignments to brakes, tune-ups, and safety inspections. Where can you get complete auto service you can trust? That's easy. Nice Tire and Auto Service. 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like, families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch.
Or the Yeti. Right,
yeah,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape, and I've
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Tommy, don't know if you watched the Kentucky Derby, but I got to do the obligatory and down the stretch they come because I always love that call. It's my favorite thing about the race. But if you did watch it this year and you saw some amazing stuff, should also mention, by the way, that was some serious cash, over $200 million bet on the Derby, and you got a photo finish. So that was nice. It's a low-key, underrated weekend with all the Game 7s and then that awesome Minnesota-Denver game, first game, and watching Ant do his thing, watching the Noles get the win on Sunday. Golf tournament was iffy, but you did have the hockey and the NBA and Major League Baseball and the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, it was kind of an underrated weekend. It's a good weekend.
So you've got an inverted experience in the world of hockey right now. Typically, the first round is extremely entertaining. The second round could be a bit of a snooze fest. 1 out of 4 might be good. 2 out of 4 in a good year. Backwards. First round was largely not great. You had 2 Game 7s. Everything else was pretty much decided. And the Game 7s were wonderful, don't get me wrong. But these second round matchups in the NHL are outstanding television. This is another one of those times where we do the PSA. If you've got a night where your baseball team played during the day or it's a travel day and you're wondering, how can I entertain myself without having to do chores or speak to my family? And this is what you do, because Rangers Hurricanes is an excellent series. Toronto, Florida should be fantastic. If you're a night owl.
You mean Boston, Florida.
Boston, Florida? What did I say? Toronto?
Yeah, Toronto got ousted again because that's all they do.
Why would I think Toronto would ever advance in a series? I would never scout it that way. And then in the West, Edmonton, Vancouver's phenomenal. This Dallas-Colorado series is going to be – this is good stuff. And it seems like the NBA says touche, because they're producing some good stuff as well in the playoffs.
Really good stuff. And by the way, know that you're right. I didn't see it, but everybody who does care about NASCAR told me about it, that the 0.001 second margin of victory in NASCAR. Not my thing. I didn't even know that happened until I got up today, and somebody was like, and don't forget the NASCAR. So there you go. That happened too. But we had, in my family, we do this. So this is probably a sign that maybe I'm a little bit irresponsible at times as a parent. Years and years and years ago, when Clark, my youngest, was very little, we watched the Kentucky Derby, and he took a liking to the horses. He thought it was interesting. He wanted to watch, and so we're watching it. And my wife said to him, "Hey, here's a list of the horses. Who do you want to win?" And we thought it'd be cute to let a little kid be drawn towards the name of a horse, right? What's your favorite name? And we read it off to him, and he picked the horse. The horse won. The horse won. And he said right afterwards, and this is again a sign that perhaps I'm a bit of a loose cannon as a father. He said, "Can't we bet on this? Could you win money on this?" Something akin to that. And I said, "Well, yes, you can bet on this." Now, I have to confess to you, for all the gambling talk I do, much to the chagrin of some of you, I have never won a horse race in my life. I've never even come close. My people don't even place. Like Fierceness or whatever the hell that horse's name was, that was the odds-on favorite to win the race, Tom, finished 15th out of 20 horses. Sorry, bitch. And I picked him. I took Fierceness. I'm like, well, my family doesn't know what odds are. I'm going to go and see who's the one. And then I did it, and then the thing finished 15th. What kind of? I'm firing the caddy, not the caddy. Listen to me, I'm a golfer. Yeah, the jockey. I'm firing the jockey.
Sometimes caddies are the size of jockeys, or sometimes golfers are the size. I think Justin Thomas would be an excellent jockey at in these Triple Crown races.
He's tiny. I've sat right next to him, had a conversation with him.
Gary Player could have been a jockey in his day as well.
He would have told you about how strong he was for his size, and then done a bunch of push-ups, annoyingly so, while wearing all black, and then promoting something nobody cares about.
Look here. Look how many push-ups I can do. That's my limited Gary Player.
It's not a bad Gary Player, given the circumstances. Yeah. So, anyhow, I once again lost, and my oldest son, Bryce, won the Derby pool that we have at the Cameron household. He won it. My kids can win on the horses. I can't win anything. I've never even come close. You would think I'd fall into it. Like if we pick 3 horses every year. Each family member gets 3. I'm like, oh, well, I'll be able to do this. You know, one of my horses will place. Nobody. Bunch of bums.
Well, maybe this gets them hooked on it, and so you can have a business and an operation much like Lee Sterling does. Remember, he found his UFC guy, and I think that guy has gone 262-3 since Lee hired him. So maybe you can have the lads get into the ponies, and you've got a different wing of the operation, and you could launch your own phone number and all of these things.
Well, I'll keep doing my golf bets because I'm sprinkling top 20 pizza money bets out there and winning left and right. And, leave the horses to the professionals, Jeff. You're right. I don't know anything about it. I want to go. I don't know how you pick a horse. I would think you'd have to be involved. Like, Iro will join us next hour, and I have a feeling he knows. Because I know that his dad used to go, I think, bet on the ponies, and I think he used to go with him. My dad has a encyclopedic knowledge of horse racing. He grew up in Hialeah after he left Pennsylvania, so he knows all about the horse racing. I got 0 shot. And I can't look at a horse and go, oh, that one. They all look the same to me. Big, strong, fierce, fast. I'll go with the purple one. I like the purple one. I sound like an old woman that is in your football pool who annoys the hell out of you because she'll steal a week or 2 a year by taking her favorite quarterback or favorite color or favorite helmet. You're like, really? Nanny's going to win the week?
Yeah.
I go freaking 14-2 this week, and she beats me because she likes green.
My mom picks a lot of winners, and she goes by the sheen of the coat of the horse and then the upper muscular structure of the legs. And she's like,
they're all muscular.
Yeah, but she sees differences, and she does a good job. She does a good job with it, I got to tell you.
So you can tell me, I don't know. I know that Michael Langston would know. I know that Matt Lasser would know, but I do want to touch on some Florida State football here for a second. Here's what we got. We have an on-3 industry 5-star offensive lineman. You and I grade sometimes based on the name to the position. Now, I always pay attention to the trenches. I don't get caught up in whether or not we're going to get this receiver or that. I care if it's an elite receiver and he's a game changer and you think you've got a shot to get him. I'm going to pay attention to that. Same for running back. Obviously, quarterback, you've got to pay attention. But for me, I tend to focus on the offensive and defensive lines. And we all know why. If you have elite talent out on the edges at wide receiver or at running back, it does you no good if you can't block it up. And so I've been waiting. I've been waiting for the moment here that Alex Atkins curries favor with a 5-star linebacker. And it'll be, we got a little bit of a wait to see if we can cement this here.
Well, 5-star O lineman. I know that was a slip. That was a Freudian slip linebacker.
Oh, sorry. Freudian slip. We never do that. You're right. Yeah. Sorry. I'm stuck on that. You know, that's lineman, offensive lineman. So his name is Josh Petty. He has 7 official visits scheduled. He could shake that list up after great spring visits, as it was written, to Notre Dame and Ohio State. He has an official visit to Georgia Tech at the end of the month. You're not going to Georgia Tech as a 5-star offensive line. Get the hell up out of here with that nonsense. Clemson on May 31st. Okay, that could happen. Auburn for June the 4th. They pay well. Tennessee for June 7th. Ditto. Stanford, must be a smart kid. Good on you. He is from Georgia, though, right? You don't want to go across the country, young man. You don't want to go across the country. Oregon for June the 14th. 3 days after my birthday, Tom, is what you probably instantly thought.
Yeah, exactly. I do the math on that all the time.
Yep. And then finally, Florida State for June the 21st, 10 days after my birthday, if you guys are at home doing the math there. But the rest of the story reads quite favorably. Going into those trips, quote, I like FSU's position. Petty's older sister will be attending school in Tallahassee, and going to the same school has always been exciting for them. Another quote, they have some variables working in their favor, Petty's father, James, told On3. He has a great relationship with the offensive line coach, Alex Atkins, and coach Mike Norvell. Could it be, Tom Lang, that this exemplary student, elite 5-star athlete, 6'4", 270, he's still in high school. He'll grow. He'll keep getting bigger. It's a 2025 kid. Could it be that we get him to say yes to Tallahassee, further buoying our thoughts of winning the trenches on a consistent basis?
Well, if you did, yeah, you'd have the top 2 interior offensive linemen in the class committed to you at the same time. That would be rare and fun. I'm glad that his parents are cheap about traveling to college. They don't want to go to 2 different campuses. They want to be one and done. They want to consolidate where their kids go. Let's make sure that we do everything to make sure that his sibling gets to Tallahassee A-OK.
She's coming here for sure, and she's excited to be here.
Well, good. Let's make sure. Let's send welcome gifts. Let's say, oh, look at that. We thought only a 60% scholarship was coming your way. We could do 100% of your scholarship, whatever it is.
Exactly.
Let's make sure the parents, he's from Roswell, so the parents want to hop in the car and they want to go to one place. They don't want to fly all over the country. Let's facilitate this and make it happen.
I do like looking at an offer sheet for a kid of this caliber player, a 5-star player, when it's got a Tennessee and it's got a Clemson and it's got an us. And, there's some other schools out there. Auburn is on that list. Obviously, this is a kid being sought after by a lot of Power 5 schools, big-time schools. Even Stanford, I know, is, but now in the ACC, Tom. So there you go. But what to say about where he's going to be? I don't know, but I'm going to be interested. We'll talk to these guys, our guys, Michael Langston and the like, over the next several weeks, and just see, could we do it? What are we, 11th right now in the high school class rankings? I think we're 11th.
I'm going to take your word for it. That sounds very specific. It means that you must have looked it up recently. I don't know. But I do
like just walk around with that kind of knowledge.
11. No.
Ranking.
That sounds like somebody who's checking it more than he used to. Somebody who's checking the recruiting rankings more than he used to.
It's a big step forward. We got to make that big step forward. And I'm looking at a few guys. I'm quick to do 2 fingers to my eyes, 2 fingers back to you. Not everybody else is. A lot of people either in the chat or on the boards or listening on the radio on 93.3. They're like, oh, settle down. We just went undefeated last year. What are you trying to imply? What are you inferring, Jeff? I want to keep climbing, just like Mike Norvell. I want to keep climbing. And the only way to keep climbing is to continue to get better. We're not there yet. We're not. You don't think we're like staring eyeball to eyeball with Georgia just yet. We're not.
We're getting there. I like how on On3's database page, which I just had up on the screen for you Warchant TV viewers, they've got a little thing that says personal life, and it might have a graph about whatever. But it's his coach. He goes to Fellowship Christian School, and it's his coach quoted saying that he's got it. That it, if you know what I mean. It's like Bobby Bowden said, whatever it is, Josh has got it. He's the real deal. I'm sure his head coach in high school would tell you that he's the real deal. Like, is the Fellowship Christian School coach the most honest man in the world? He should be a 3-star. He's not a 4-star whatsoever. That's kind of funny to me. Not details about his life, just his high school coach saying he's a good player.
Well, also, you'll notice that a lot of people who reference the it factor, especially if it's not a quarterback, because I think with quarterback, you do take into account how he's going to relate to all of his teammates, because he, by definition, has to be a leader. Now, leadership reveals itself in many ways. You don't have to always be a vocal leader, but there has to be an element of leadership to you if you're a quarterback. Everybody else, you can just lead by, kicking ass in the gym, working really hard, knowing the playbook, doing your job. You don't have to have the it factor, but 9 times out of 10, when somebody references the it factor, they're just ignoring that the it is that he's 6'5", 275 with arms from here to Jersey. Of course, he's got the it factor. He's a big badass who's steady yoking kids 190 at a high school game.
Again, I'm sorry, I might get in trouble for this, but this little capsule on Josh Petty's personal life says this coach should know what it takes to be a star. His coaching resume includes stops as a defensive coordinator at Arkansas, Florida, Ole Miss, South Carolina. He was also the head coach at East Carolina for 2 seasons and was Georgia State's first defensive coordinator in 2008. I'm sorry, is this a capsule for the player, or is it a resume page for the coach?
He's trying to get hired out of the high schools again. He's like, I'm still here, guys. Check the resume.
Look, if you want intel on this 5-star kid, you're putting my entire resume on his page, because I know people are going to click on his page. They're not clicking on my resume.
Yeah, it factor usually coincides with a whole bunch of badassery in terms of the measurables. And again, with offensive linemen, it's not a knock on the sites that cover recruiting, all the sites that do. I work for one, warchant.com, of course, and we would encourage you to become a subscriber. Do it today. Is that offer still in play? The $1 for 2 months?
$1 for your first month.
First month. Okay, so there it is. I would encourage you to do that and do it today, of course. But it's hard to gauge what an offensive lineman especially is in high school, because generally speaking, they're a lot bigger than the people that they're wearing out. But that's not an it factor. That's I'm a big SOB factor. You don't have to reference it. You can reference sheer mass, size, dominance, you name it. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV. We'll be back second hour in a moment. I actually have some more Florida State football that I want to touch on. It's Jeff Cameron Show. Stay with us. Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Have you been injured on I-10? I'm Dana Brooks of Facing Brooks Law Offices. We have partnered with Roadproof to access all interstate traffic camera footage along I-10 from Pensacola to Jacksonville. Memories fade and witnesses disappear. Securing important video footage now can make sure your claim receives the full attention it deserves. Call us today and let us secure the proof you need to come back stronger. Facing Brooks, 850-777-7777. Offices Destin, Tallahassee, and Jacksonville.
From the front lines of the fight against socialism, it's America in View.
About America.
Pinching yourself in the arm just to make sure you're not dreaming. Ow! Visit Pinch a Penny on Greer Street off Capitol Circle Northeast today.
Siri, tell me a joke. The past, present, and future walk into a bar. It was tense.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
Ready for a breath of fresh air this tax season? Well, breathe easy with E&B Heating and Air. Don't miss out on federal tax incentives for new AC systems and heat pumps. Take advantage of up to $2,000 in tax credits, plus additional savings from city and manufacturer rebates. E&B Heating and Air Conditioning has been serving Tallahassee and surrounding areas since 1974. Call us today for your free estimate at 850-575-9119 or visit us online at enbheatandair.com. That's enbheatandair.com.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT. Greta, Tallahassee.
The latest betting odds and line movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Texas A&M the 5-1 favorite to win the College World Series, followed by Arkansas at 6-1, Tennessee at plus 750. Florida State Seminoles 15-1 to win it all in Omaha. The Florida Gators 30-1. Tampa Bay Rays, another 80 home favorite against the White Sox today at Tropicana Field. The total is 7.5, but that number is shaded to the under. Tyler Alexander for the Rays. Michael Soraka pitching for the White Sox plus 150. Dodgers over the Braves 5-1 yesterday. The Braves have dropped 3 straight. Dodgers with a $1.30 dog yesterday. Braves back at home against the Red Sox tomorrow. Get your free VSiN subscription right now at VSIN.com. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Son at Real Talk 93.3.
This report is sponsored by Amazon. Amazon is bringing back Amazon Pet Day on Tuesday, May 7th and Wednesday, May 8th in celebration of National Pet Month. Amazon Pet Day will offer 48 hours of deals across pets, home, electronics, and more. With thousands of products on deal, there's something for every pet companion, from food and treats to toys and clothing to habitats, electronics, cleaners, and more. Amazon will be bringing back customer favorite deals from Purina, Furbo, PetKit, and PetSafe, and offering savings from top brands like Frontline, Merrick, and Blue Buffalo, as well as small businesses like Bundle and Joy and Hopscotch Bun. Everyone can enjoy savings on Amazon Pet Day, whether customers are new or pro pet parents. Prime members can also get more everyday savings on pet essentials year-round and save money with exclusive deals, free delivery, buy with Prime, prescription savings, and quality entertainment. To shop for furry friends and scaly critters, mark your calendars for Amazon Pet Day on May 7th and May 8th and visit Amazon.com/Pet Day.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
When you need a plumber quick, how long is an acceptable time to have to wait?
Yeah, hey, it's the Millers again. Just calling you about our little plumbing problem.
2 hours?
Hey, we were hoping you can get here soon because the water is getting really bad. I mean, please hurry.
4 hours?
I know you said you were on your way, but, honey, tell the kids to tread water.
8 hours?
Don't worry about us.
At M&L Plumbing, you'll never have to wait long for quality, dependable service right when you need it. At M&L Plumbing, we listen to our customers, and our qualified technicians aim to achieve 100% customer satisfaction. So the next time you need plumbing work or repairs, think of the name M&L Plumbing, your local plumbing experts, commercial or residential. Give us a call, 850-575-9393, or visit us online at mndlplumbing.com. M&L Plumbing, for all of your plumbing needs.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Broadcasting live Live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Watching on YouTube, perhaps listening later on the podcast. Multimedia over here at the Jeff Cameron Show on the regular, but tip of the cap to you guys as well in the Heisen Legal Law Firm chat. All right, good day, good day. Let's keep it rolling. Our good buddy Ira Shafel will join us later this hour, bottom of the hour, in fact. He had the unenviable task, Tom. I don't know if you know this. He had the unenviable task of having to do a write-up on FSU basketball. I saw it on the warchant.com website. Read the whole thing.
Yeah. You went, you have your degree in journalism, do you not?
Yeah, yes, I do.
You could even be like an article and essay class, like there's an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. You can get more granular than that if you really want to.
Yeah, sure.
That's a very thin body. There's not a whole lot to talk about unless you're talking about departures.
Yeah, I was going to say, there is a lot to talk about. You just have to document a lot of depressing things, but you can do it. By the way, speaking of which, Jalen Worley chose to be a one-year rental for the Virginia Cavaliers, making him the second FSU player to transfer within the same conference. Cameron Corrin transferred to Pitt, if you didn't know. And also looking around college basketball, one of the reasons it's a mess, and I'm going to leave college basketball alone here very, very shortly, but here you go. Virginia's roster, by the way, is apparently also in free fall. They lost their two best players to the NBA draft, along with a pair of fifth-year seniors. So they needed to add a player who could play defense, and that's Worley. He can't shoot, but he plays defense, and so he's a transfer portal signee for Virginia. And then you look around the rest of the country, and I've seen that happen to a lot of teams. We can take great pleasure, for example, in the Schadenfreude situation in Miami. Injury-plagued season, they went 15-17 the year after making it to the Final Four. Mass exited some players, including 4 of their top 6 players, which is a fun thing to watch. But yeah, just a nightmare, just a nightmare in college basketball for the sport right now. It's weird. We talk so much about the transfer portal in football, and as we should. By the way, if we bring it back to football, which you're saying, please hurry up and do. All right, well, I'll do that. I mean, are we feel like that's it? That's all? Are we just, the team is the team?
It could very well be that the team is the team. And now the giant word that's important begins with a D, and it's development. You need a lot of development this offseason to cultivate some more options, specifically at receiver. I don't know that you need to do anything extra defensive tackle if you're not going to bring another guy in, because I think Daniel Lyons is consistently getting better. KJ Sampson's consistently getting better. Grady Kelly's going to get into the shape that Josh Storms wants him to be in. So those things are going to take care of themselves, short of bringing in another body. That's the rotation that you're going to have. But development on offense, I think, is critical. It's not just for receiver. Maybe cultivate another option at right tackle. That could be very important for you. And then also the synergy, the timing, the chemistry. That these are all critical things that it doesn't stop at spring. These workouts that are voluntary. I know coaches can now be a part of the workouts on a limited basis in the summer as well. These things are critical, because you're going to be starting camp actually a little bit earlier. Gene Williams and I were talking today about how they're going to have to start camp probably right after the ACC kickoff. We have day 1 of that 4-day event. I'm sure they gave us day 1 because they know that we've got to get back here and get to practicing for week 0.
Let's go ahead and do this. Let's set up dates for the summer. This is it is kind of fun. I joked about it last hour as we were sitting there talking about the Phil Steele tweet today. and his remarks that he got to sit down with Mike Norvell for an hour, and Mike was kind enough to go thoroughly over his football team. And I said that's kind of the jumping off point, the launching point for one thing that's depressing, but it's also the sign of turning another corner on into the summer, which is the last big stretch where we're in this chasm of nothingness to some extent in regards to, everybody waiting on football to come back around. But you kind of begin the countdown now. Summer's begun when you see Phil Steele's tweet. But for Florida State, everything is ratcheted up. That's what you're alluding to because of the trip over to Ireland. The week 0 game, we'll be traveling there. We're going to have to start practicing sooner than you ordinarily would. That, too, is exciting. So, in regards to the Aer Lingus contest over there, the college football extravaganza that is Florida State and Georgia Tech at Aviva, the ACC kickoff date, that it's 4 days now, which is seemingly absurd. I think Tom is alluding to the fact that we'll be there for one.
Yes.
We'll be there for one because we get the benefit of going on the first day. So we'll get players and we'll get coaches that first day. We'll get to hear the fearless leader of the ACC speak to everybody who's in attendance. The ballroom will be a buzz as we wait for him to take to the dais. Go ahead, Jim. Let us know the great shakes that is the ACC and lacrosse and soccer and the like. Tennis, too. Don't forget tennis. So, hey, what's the date on that?
So the date is Monday, July 22nd. That's when Florida State is there. And I agree with you. I think it'll be a one and done for us because if you wanted Miami or you wanted Clemson, you'd have to wait till Wednesday or Thursday. Following Florida State, these are the schools that speak before the ACC media. California, Pitt, Stanford, Virginia Tech. Now we're out. We're gone. And it's us, Georgia Tech, and SMU. Those are the 3 teams on day 1, which is good because we do play SMU in a high-leverage game early in the season. We'll be able to get some things out of that particular interview process, perhaps get to talk to Rhett Lashley one-on-one on Radio Row. But I would imagine if you're talking about a Monday, July 22nd ACC kickoff date, you're kicking off on August 24th. Camp's got to start later that week. It has to. The luncheon, all of it.
So what you're really saying is survive May and June basically means football's here, everybody. I mean, come on. Hang in there, everybody. We can do it. When you start saying that we're 1 month prior to the month that things get started, yes, you're playing with words, and yes, you're, manipulating the truth a little, but it is technically accurate. If when I say to you, it's June, next month we start college football in our coverage of Florida State football practice. How exciting is that, right? It gets you there.
I'm trying to find, per your discussion on Friday, I don't see an official release date for the video game yet. I was looking at that too because
I got you thinking about it. Yeah,
you did. Because if that happened in June, then by God, we are in football season right now.
Right here today.
As a youngster / college student, I think I recall those coming out in July. Typically, that game comes out in July if they hold to the old calendar. The midnight releases, remember those? You could have gotten it earlier at Games for Less, but I remember before I knew about Games for Less, I would drive to the Thomasville Walmart would release it. It was known around like 10 o'clock, so you could get there.
Wink, wink, nod, not understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that the internet has kind of, to some degree, ruined the release dates for music as well as video games because you just download them now. You can. But I go to see George at Games for Less, of course. I want the physical copy, damn it. I want the physical copy. I do. And I like knowing that I have the end, that my man can give the knowing nod like, yeah, release date's on Tuesday. Maybe you swing by Thursday. We'll talk about it. Meaning the previous Thursday. Oh, we'll talk about it, will we? We might. We might be able to talk about it a little bit. Like, okay. I don't know. I'm going to say this. I will, and I shout out to our people, the Charlotte Seminole Club, who last year, what a gala. I had a time and a half there along with many of my Warchant brethren as we got to meet the Charlotte Seminole Club, and man, were they kind, welcoming hosts for those at Warchant. We got to address the masses, took out 2 major areas of a restaurant and bar. It was right downtown. We were staying in a beautiful home that our boss, Gene Williams, rented us. It was gorgeous. Had a cat that liked to sleep on the chair, the swinging couch outside. It was beautiful.
What? You had another one? Because that was in preseason camp too. Remember that?
Yeah. No, that was a good. Everything was good. Good times.
I hope that cat's doing okay. I gave him the water bowl, and he was all too happy to have the water bowl.
Thank God I got some water around here. These people, it's the desert. Yeah.
You just opened the sink. These cheap Fs. Just put some water out for a cat.
The Charlotte Seminole Club was awesome, and we had a wonderful opportunity to talk with everybody, meet all those folks, and they were really nice. And just again, it's an energetic group, and I don't want us to get screwed. Is my point by this 4-day ACC kickoff for football? As much as I don't know what they're trying to do with that, but I mean, honestly, if we're going the first day, you're right. If you said that's a Monday that we're going to be there.
Yeah, Monday the 22nd.
Oh,
yeah.
It's ruined. It's ruined unless they put something on or we do some big to-do, like we go into town that previous Friday. You hear me stumping? Maybe we get to Charlotte that Friday.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of nice golf courses up there. You could also I would be the featured guest at the Charlotte Seminole Club event on Sunday. Because then you could have Friday for a half travel day. Maybe Saturday stop in the mountains and play a round of mountain golf on the way just to cool off. You're cooling off before going in the heat of Charlotte. Is it circuitous? Yes. But does it provide you some mountain golf and some time to be at peace before we say hello to the Charlotte Club and launch this thing? Yes. I think it's a win-win.
We're just giving you a heads up, Charlotte. Warchant would love to come to town on that weekend before the Monday Florida State appearance for the ACC kickoff. I don't think we're going to get the normal sort of 3 to 4 day get together where we all have a blast. So maybe we'll have to do it that weekend. Start looking at your calendar. Do what you can, guys. Do what you can. It's my pleasure to go there, and hopefully this year, Tom, you're able to join us. Myself and Aslan and Ira, Corey, we had a blast last year. It was unbelievable. Great time promoting all things Warchant.
Maybe then also the Charlotte Seminole Club can hang out around the lobby of the hotel and welcome the ACC overlords for another year of vigorous competition. And they can say hello and maybe make some signs to say, "Welcome, Jim. We love you," as he arrives on the property.
Welcome, Jim. Good to see you. Lay out the plan for the mighty ACC and what they'll do moving forward. It is going to be, and I'm not even kidding, guys. We have been going to the ACC kickoff there in Charlotte for however many years now. And every year there's a theme, there's a thought, there's a story, there's an idea, there's an angle, there's something that we're going to want to report on. It could be the newest. I remember when Jimbo took over as head coach, he kind of owned that arena. It was amazing the way he kind of came in, and even as the newest coach amongst those in the ACC, owned the room. Very, very confident. Let's put it that way. Jimbo was very confident. So we had a storyline there as how quickly could Florida State turn it around. And then subsequently you saw the building towards something great. And then ultimately you had 2013 and 2014. And then you were atop the mountain when you rolled into town. Then later on, the controversy of the latter years when they fell off the mountaintop and he left. And you realized the storylines would be a little bit different. And Clemson began to emerge. And what would Florida State do to combat that? Florida State, knowing that Clemson was on the rise and that they were in, transition, to say the least. Then you had, obviously, Willie Taggart come in. That didn't work out. That first year was exciting, although I remember almost hitting the alarm with his opening comments at the ACC kickoff. Not as buttoned up, not as professional as one would like there in that setting. It was weird. I believe he referenced his players as turds on that particular day. That felt a little odd. Didn't seem to bode well for the future.
No, I remember I was in Canada on a trip. I was in Halifax, and I texted you. I said, because I was catching the videos. I was catching the news in waves after it happened. Like, did he really say turds? Because somebody put it on Twitter, and you said, yes, he did.
Yes, he did. I was disappointed. I was like, okay, that doesn't seem very coach-like. Then Kind of like the stuff you see from Dion right now. You're like, doesn't seem a good idea to pick a fight with a dude who has 300 followers. Don't know why you're doing that. Anyhow, so the point would be that, yeah, we were documenting all of these things. And then there was the Mike Norvell era that we're still in, and we've had a lot of fun with that. What gets weird now when we go to the ACC kickoff this year is it the last one? Well, they'll have other ACC kickoffs. Nobody will notice. But is it the last one that we're attending?
Yeah. I think I'm going to have a custom shirt made if I do make the trip. And it's just going to say in big block lettering, "Where is Dennis Miller?" And then that's just what I'm going to wear.
Because the comedian's name is Dennis Miller, people are going to think immediately. It's going to have to be if you know type thing. Because
yeah, I could. Well, I mean, maybe on the back or on the sleeve, I could put a CW logo, something along those lines. Where is Dennis Miller? Jim will know. That's the important thing. And I could get up and ask a question, just say, "What do you think about the relative success of Olympic sports?" And I could really stretch my arms out as I ask, so he can read the shirt,
see it, yeah,
and see the question that I'm really asking.
I don't think Phillips realizes how silly that looked. And I was there, and it was funny, and it was the best ever. And him saying, and we're really proud of and excited about our new relationship with the CW. Dennis Miller is here. Dennis, are you here? Okay, Dennis didn't make it. Okay. Sorry, but we're very excited to be on board with the CW.
He couldn't admit that, though. I think he's around here somewhere. I think he's around here.
There was no Dennis Miller anywhere.
No.
Dennis was at home laughing, watching it on his computer.
It's the third Austin Powers with Michael Caine, which is he's such an underrated character in that trilogy. Yeah. He's like, "Stand up, Dad, and take a bow," and the seat's empty. And everybody starts pointing and laughing. Like, yeah, that's Dennis Miller, my man. Stand up, Dennis, and take a bow.
Oh. Dennis Miller, so excited. Dennis, you here? Dennis? I don't know. Okay. And then he had to pivot, and it was so, we're all like, oh. First of all, you were trumpeting the newfound relationship with the CW. Secondly, the head of that relationship, yourself and aforementioned Dennis, you're weak, and Dennis isn't here. This is not good. This is a bad combination. This is not going to get it done. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Hey folks, it's me, Mac and More, spokesperson for Tallahassee's favorite Apple and Mac product store, Mac and More. We all know what Mac is all about. It's your MacBooks, iMacs, Apple Watch, iPhones, iPads, we've all got them. But what's really cool is the and more. And there's a lot more at Mac and More. They can help set up your new gear, migrate and back up your data, teach you new tricks and how to use everything better. And if something costs too much to fix, they'll tell you the truth. There's a lot more at Mac and More. See for yourself at macandmoresystems.com. Or you can take it from me, Mr. Mac and More.
If you've been waiting for the perfect time to buy your new house, you'll be waiting forever. This is Shannon Young with Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, and I have been a mortgage lender for over 20 years. And I can tell you that there is no such thing as perfect timing. So take the first step towards your new home and let me show you what that really looks like. Chances are very high that you'll be very surprised at what I can help you do. When rates go low, prices go high, and that home that you've been eyeballing could be gone. If you're wondering how the drop in interest rates is going to affect your payment, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to show you all of the options available to get you into your new home. And for every single loan that we close for a fellow Knoll, I will personally donate $250 per closing to the Battle's End. Let's do this together and let's keep climbing. Call me today at 954-369-6171. That's 954-369-6171. Or you can find me online at loansforknolls.com. That's loansforknolls.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 373031.
At Paul's Termite and Pest Control, we know if you have something in your home that's not supposed to be there, you want it gone now.
Not in a couple of days, not tomorrow, but today. That's why we offer a same-day guarantee.
If you call Paul's before 12, one of our technicians will be out before 5. We guarantee it.
The health of you, your family, and your pets is why we promise to do everything possible to quickly resolve your problem.
And we do so using the safest chemicals. Notice a pest problem?
Call Paul's Termite and Pest Control before 12, and we're there before 5.
Call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
We're all spending more time at home than we ever have.
And our yards have become more than something we look at through the window. They are now a major part of our refuge.
Now that we're outside more, wouldn't it be great if we could eliminate the things that make us want to run back inside? Pests like mosquitoes and fire ants.
Paul's Pest Control can do just that, and we'll do it for a surprisingly low cost.
Our treatments are done outside. There is never a reason to enter your home.
The weather is beautiful, and now is the time to be outside.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control will help you take your yard back.
Call us for a free consultation.
Oh my God, what happened to you? You're walking so crooked.
Well, I was walking my alligator and I tripped on a cypress knee and I spilled my margarita.
Oh my gosh, your margarita.
Yeah, I blown my back completely out. I had to ride the alligator home. I don't know what to do. My back's killing me.
You're such a poor man. You should know you should go to Finn Chiropractic.
Really?
You can go to their website and book an appointment and get you in as soon as possible. Go to FinnChiro.com, FENNCHIRO.com.
You mean 24 hours a day I can make my appointment online and pay for it?
Yep, right on their website.
Wow, and it's discounted?
Yeah.
All right, that's what Florida man needs to do.
No lines, no waiting. Visit FenChiro.com to book your next appointment with a discount. FENNCHIRO.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com. It's Fen Chiropractic, where the chiropractors love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Hold my beer. I'm going to Finn Chiropractic.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
Ira Chappelle set to join us here in a few minutes. In the interim here, Tom and I will continue the chat, enjoy the conversation, in finding ways to reduce the amount of time it actually is until we kick off in Ireland, which is really will be the ongoing saga of the summer, which is what you do, which is, you got to do what you got to do. End of this month, little vacation for yours truly as I head to New York to meet up with my boy.
Hey, I saw that. We've got an itinerary and everything. You're taking the fam up here. You're going to be exploring all these little nuances and new things I've found, but I'm sure you're going to do some of the major stuff as well. When's the last time the boys, I know Bryce was up here last year. What about
he was
Clark?
last year. Clark's never been to New York.
Well, you got to do the big things. Okay.
You know what I didn't tell you? It's his birthday weekend when we're there.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's Clark's birthday on the 2nd of June, so we're going to have to do it up. How much fun is that going to be?
He'll be 14?
14.
Yeah, nailed it. All right.
You know, now, this is a guy. I went to Bryce's football practice. They've started spring, and here I'll be. It's I'm going to be the father. This is when I'm feeling old. I'm going to be the father of 2 high school kids. Simultaneous. It'll be happening. That's
well, that's good for carpool purposes.
You're damn right it is.
What's his favorite food? Clark
is just a classic hamburger kid, man. He loves just a good burger. Okay. You know, any of the classic Americana cuisine he's like our next guest. He's like Ira. He is just a classic steak and potatoes kind of guy, man. You can't beat it. So yeah, his birthday will be. I don't know what the best burger joint or hot dog joint is or steak joint is in New York. We're not going to the best steak joint in New York. We're not doing that. Don't pick that. It's just his 14th birthday.
Table for 6? Yeesh.
Yeah,
that's going to be a couple of bucks.
We're not doing that. I see him. He's in there. There's Ira. Let's bring him on.
He's interested about the ponies too. He heard that.
I knew he would know it. He's from down there. Everybody from Miami knows how to rob, bet the horses, and go to the beach. Certainly there he is. Ira Chappelle, Warchant.com. Hello, Ira.
Dude, I almost drove off the road when you started talking about the Derby. And then when you said you might ask me about it, I was like, I got to get home. I don't know if I've ever been this excited.
Well, okay. So honestly, all jokes aside, you've told my dad went to Hialeah High. All right. And I told the story.
And their mascots, the T-Breds, the Thoroughbreds.
That's right.
A little correlation with the racetrack there.
And he knows, like, my dad loves history to begin with, but he can name like all of the previous, whatever, like last 40 or however many Kentucky Derby winners. And he can tell you things about them because his family back in Pennsylvania has a history with horses. Now, I tell you all that to say this. The only other person I know who has a great understanding of this, I think, is you. And so, because didn't your dad bet the ponies and take you back in the day?
Yeah,
And I don't
he's
mean that. And I don't think that's disparaging. Yeah.
He's definitely a degenerate gambler, especially when it came to the horses. And yeah, so I was tagging along from a really young age, and it was a fun Kentucky Derby. So again, not for the people that didn't have Mystic Dan, but it was the way it played out was fun.
It was really fun. It was crazy, that ending. Okay, so I got to ask you, how do you bet on horses? I've never won. I've never won once. I didn't win when we were over in Ireland. Ira, you and I bet the horses when we went to Ireland. Yeah. I didn't win a damn thing. Didn't come close on any of the races.
So here's the thing, and you would like it if you learned about it a little bit. And I know, it's a dying sport. Nobody wants to learn about handicapping horse racing, but if you learn it, it is fun, because what you're trying to do is obviously there's a horse that might be the best horse. And a lot of time that's the odds on favorite. And he's just the best horse. He's put up the fastest times. He's won the biggest races. He is the big bad A in that race. But a lot of times, and you saw in this race, if there's 15 or 20 horses, post position, now it makes a big deal. And so the favorite in this race had 17th post position, which is a challenge. No horse has ever won the Kentucky Derby from the number 17 spot.
See, I didn't even know that. There you go.
And so it's a challenge because you're so far out wide. Can you get, if you're a horse that needs to be near the front, can you get near the front by the time they go in that first turn? And so, or if you try to get up there, you might be 4 or 5 wide and you're burning a lot of energy. And now some horses run from off the pace, and that's not a big deal. They just want to shuffle in, get near the rail, and they're fine. This race worked out perfectly for Mystic Dan because he's not the best horse in that race, but he likes to ride on the rail, and he needs to be kind of close to the pace, but not far off it. And where he got really helped was there was a speed battle. There was a battle of 4 or 5 horses up at the front on the pace. So they're wearing each other out. Like those horses at the top, when you see 3 or 4 or 5 horses at the front of a race, they're killing themselves. Now, sometimes a horse is so great, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Right? Secretariat's like, screw you, I'm just going to stay here.
Exactly. I don't care. You're all going to get tired and I'm good. But there was no like super horse in this race. So those horses are all tiring themselves out. And the Mystic Dan, he's on the rail. If you look at the backstretch, he's just chilling on the rail the whole time while they're fighting each other. And then what he needs is but the problem is he needs a hole to get through. Like he can't, if they all stay 4 or 5 wide, he's got nowhere to go and he can't go all that far wide. So what happened is those horses got a little bit tired. And when they get tired coming into the home stretch, they fade off the rail. It's hard for them to stay on the rail. And that opened up just slightly. Like it wasn't like they went way off the rail, just slightly off the rail, man. And Mystic Dan's jockey, who did a great job, man, he shot it, got right between them, and was able to win the race. And again, like if you run that race, if Mystic Dan's at the 10 spot or the 12 spot or the 15 spot, he probably can't win that race. And if it goes a different way, like maybe there's only 2 horses at the front, he might not be able to, because they're not going to push each other as hard. But it just worked out perfectly for him. So it's cool, like when a horse has a good shot and everything played out perfectly for him to win it. Again, it's not so much fun if you have the other horses, but it doesn't always play out the way you think. Like the cool thing is, I'll say this, Jeff, if you do handicap the race and you figure out how it's going to run, and this is the way I think this horse is going to the front, this horse is going to the back. There you go. If you figure it all out and you handicap it right and it hits exactly the way you think, the money's phenomenal. But it's just
not the money though. It's not the money, right? Yes,
man. It's like you nailed it, and it's so cool. But it doesn't always play out the way you think. Just if say only 2 horses went to the front and they didn't tire each other out, 3 would have been screwed because he wouldn't have been able to get through the rails. So it's just it's a fun sport.
I can see how it's so funny because the way that people bet, and bets now, it's in our culture, betting is, and the way you bet certain sports is very different. So like I'm in love, if people know from listening to the show, and I try not to bog people down with this all the time, but other people do want to know. I got to figure out a way to do this. I bet horses for courses. I know things about the grass, and I know things about style of play for certain golf courses. So I will take a guy like this weekend. I had Schenk, right? So this is a guy who otherwise is a bum. Nobody's going to take him, but he was perfect for that course. And I thought, bet him on the top 20 market. Well, he finished top 10. So it's really gratifying. You're like, okay, I had this guy nobody's got. Now, you're going to miss some because, hey, you had a bad bounce. You get stuck on the lip of a hole and you take a 7. Things happen. It sounds like kind of properly handicapping the event is really where the fun's at. There's no guarantees. That's why it's called gambling. But if you do it right, you're like, I was on the right side. It didn't work out, but I did the right thing.
100%. And Corey and I went to Churchill Downs one year for the Louisville game. And I'm like handicapping, right? Because that's what I mean. I've lived at the course or the track since I was a little kid, and not the best parenting in the world. But I'm handicapping the race. Corey walks up literally as the race is about to start. And he's like, "Have we missed this?" And I was like, "No, you still got like a minute or two to get in a bet." He goes, puts $20 on some random horse, some random number, and it won. And he won like $300, $400, and then now Corey thinks he's got it wired, and he's always going to win. And it hasn't always gone that great since then, but it's a fun sport. And they're beautiful horses, man. It's cool to go out there.
Makes the smart man pissed when somebody like Corey rolls up and just accidentally falls into 300 bones. I like the name. It's akin to your grandmother liking the color of the uniform type thing. It's nonsense. All right, really quickly, I think there's a very good chance Florida State is going back to Omaha. Do you agree?
If if those pitchers come back, it's a game changer. It's kind of like my Orioles, Jeff. If we're gonna just talk about all the things I care about, if we get John Means and Kyle Bradish back, now all of a sudden it's a game changer. But no, it's I mean, if Leiter does come back, and it sounds like he and Whitaker are going to come back at some point, yeah, why not, man? This team is obviously the offense is there. The defense was great yesterday, and it's been good overall. And they've got some what for, man. Like, this is a team that's got some confidence, and if they get a little bit more depth in their arms, I still think they could get to the supers at least with what they have right now. But if you get one or two of those guys back and they're effective, especially and then now you can use some of these other guys in leverage situations. Yeah, they could definitely get to Omaha. There's no question.
When do you go to Amelia Island?
Next week.
I knew it was coming up. What's the angle for the stories? What are you writing here? Are you going to try to capture the fist fight between Alfred and Phillips? What are you doing?
So last year was interesting because Florida State had done their saber rattling going into Amelia Island. And Amelia Island is where the ACC has their spring meetings every year. And Florida State had some of their, Michael Alford made some comments in an article I wrote right before the spring meetings. They had made some comments in earlier in the year at a Board of Trustees meeting. So like that was kind of simmering. Like people knew Florida State was frustrated and it was kind of simmering. And then when we got over to Amelia Island, it was just kind of all trying to figure out how's this going to work out. They kind of put a Band-Aid on it a little bit, but they came out with that their uneven revenue sharing based on success, the success formula. And if Florida State goes to the playoff or wins the national championship, they'll get a bigger piece of these other schools, which was a positive step, but you knew it wasn't what Florida State and Clemson were going to be wanting. So last year was interesting because it was just kind of like, let's see what plays out. This, man, I have no idea, because you have their spring meetings are going on where all the ADs and presidents, not the presidents, ADs, head football coaches, academic support staff, like they're all going to be in these meetings to decide decisions about the future of the conference. Like, how many games do we want to play in basketball? Where do we want to have the tournament? These things. Well, they don't want Florida State and Clemson in that room. That came out in some of the paperwork recently. Like, the ACC has made a case that Florida State and Clemson shouldn't be in there because they're suing the conference. But Florida State and Clemson are arguing, no, we definitely should be in there. We haven't decided to leave yet. So they're going to be there, and it's going to be going on. But, man, it's anybody's guess how it all plays out. And how last year it got heated last year behind closed doors, and they hadn't sued yet. So it's I'm looking forward to it for sure.
I love the idea of this. I'm excited for you. I can't wait till you're able to tell me some of the things that you're hearing behind the scenes. I mean, there'll be things you can report, things you can't. I'm more interested in things you can't. I can't wait to hear about some of the exchanges, because this has to be a bloodbath. Now, this is just hatred. And there's all this other stuff, like the sweetheart of the conference, the cornerstone of the conference, North Carolina, has made overtures about wanting to do what Clemson and Florida State is doing. So how do you even have these meetings when the prize jewel, the crown jewel of the conference is like, yeah, we kind of agree with these a-holes?
Well, and so last year, Bubba Cunningham, North Carolina's AD, he kind of scolded FSU a little bit. It was this week last year where he was like, I don't like the way they're barking and they're causing trouble and we should all be aligned. Well, then just about a month or 2 months, his bosses on the Board of Trustees came out and said, hey, Bubba, chill out. We're looking out for North Carolina. we're looking out for us, not the conference. And so now how does he act in those meetings? That's a great question. And then you have Notre Dame, Jack Swarbrick last year at this meeting. Yes. At this meetings last year, Jack Swarbrick, Notre Dame's AD, said, you have two solar systems right now, the SEC and the Big Ten, and everybody's just trying to get into their orbits. And it's like, dude, you're in the ACC and you're at the ACC spring meetings and you're talking about how everybody just wants to get out and get over there. So yeah, man, Jim Phillips is going to be in rare form, I think, at these meetings.
He's going to celebrate their many wins in lacrosse and the other sports, and then he's probably going to celebrate their new members. They'll put a highlight of the new members. That's where that's going to be. Like, hey, guys, we got SMU. Check it out. Hey, here's SMU, everybody. Come check them out. Meanwhile,
the Wake Forest AD, and they're going to be buddying up to the Stanford people and hey, come on in here. We love you. And
we're just like you.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that next TV contract.
I salvaged a way to have a meaty conversation, Ira, with you in which we learned all about horse racing and the fun for you next week and not have to ask you a single question about the article you wrote for basketball. You're welcome.
That's there for anybody that wants to go read it. It's there for forever.
Be good, brother.
Thanks,
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's Ira Chaffel, warchant.com. He does great work. Go read said article and all the other stuff on warchant.com. Become a member today. Why haven't you? What are you waiting on, everybody?
Your local news now.
A homicide investigation is currently underway after a woman died early Friday morning. Around 5:30 a.m. Friday, officers responded to Providence Point Apartments where they found a woman suffering from serious injuries in an apartment. She was immediately taken to the hospital where TPD said she was later pronounced deceased. Detectives are working to find out the cause of her death and the circumstances of the incident. 3 small structures in southwest Tallahassee were damaged after a brush fire spread to them Friday. The burn took place just after 5:30 p.m. in a wooded area near the intersection of Ammonia Street and McCaskill Avenue. Firefighters were able to extinguish the fire in an hour. The Florida Fire Marshal's office is investigating the cause and circumstances of the fire. A suspect was arrested after a weapon was found on Bainbridge Middle School grounds on Friday. The Decatur County Schools Police Department was involved in the investigation. It is currently unknown when the arrest was made or the suspect's identity. This is Rachel Ine with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Slight chance of thunderstorms this afternoon. Otherwise, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. High temperatures reach up to 90. Winds out of the south, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies tonight. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Lows dip down to about 68. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow. Highs around 89. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 87.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. You two at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean? There was
Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude,
no.
I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No, I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I loved learning about horse racing with Ira. You could tell he was passionate, understood the subject inside and out, can lend real insight. Now I know. Would love to be at a track with that guy while he's actually setting it up for victory.
We do have some tentative plans to go back to Leopardstown in Ireland in August for a show. So if that's not in stone yet, but we're already talking logistics with the folks over there.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, I'm sure they've got a card for the full day. That's their season. So it'd be nice to make sure that Ira is there. Maybe we can get some film of Ira reacting to his wagers and see how they go.
Ira bet the last time we were there. We all did. Leopardstown was amazing. And for those people making the trip to Ireland for Florida State, Georgia Tech, I would strongly recommend a trip over to Leopardstown. I don't get any money out of this, so I'm just telling you that the experience I had there was a lot of fun. And the folks were really gracious hosts. It was amazing. The track itself is stunningly beautiful. It's huge. And they run on the most picturesque green grass over there. It's not the mud and the dirt that you see over here. It's just grass, and it is stunningly beautiful, just emerald everywhere you look. It was a good time. They have live concerts there. They set it up for everybody afterwards. After the races are done, they have this open space where they welcome in a bunch of different kinds of musical acts. They had me promo an act I had never heard of. The local news station there said that they wanted me as a guest to try to coerce people to go to this concert after the race, Tom, and I'm having to cut a promo on their equivalent of, say, WCTV, and I'm trying to explain why you should come out to see this band that I've never heard of. It was a pro moment, I got to tell you.
Was the band good? I thought you said there was a good band the day.
It was a really good band that I had not heard of, and they were really good. I forgot their name, but they were good, and it was a good time. Yeah, we had a good time. I had this was good. This was I'm so excited for people. We're getting close enough that it's kind of out there in the air that we've already begun to think about the things not only that are at play here for Florida State in that game, and a trip to Ireland is unique. A lot of people are going for the first time. I'm excited for all of those people and to see the looks on their faces. Ireland's a wonderful country. The people are oh so kind and welcoming. And then the game itself in that stadium is going to be fun because I've had the good fortune of walking every inch of that stadium. I've been to the rafters. I've been down on the field. I've been in the locker rooms. You won't get to go in the locker rooms. I will tell you this, you're not missing much. It's like Ted Lasso's locker room.
Yeah.
I mean, because soccer is so, in terms of the sheer size of the teams, or rugby even, much smaller. So they don't have big football-sized locker rooms. My questions for them when I was over there was, how do you account for that? And they explained it. It was pretty neat the way they explained it. But I was able to kind of run out of the tunnel for both the visitors' locker room and the home locker room to see what they're going to see when they take to the field. And Aviva's pretty awe-inspiring. It's this weird oblong-shaped kind of place with an open air, but yet it has this overhang that keeps all the noise in. I don't want to compare it to the old Cowboys Stadium in Irving, but you guys remember that, the way that the overhang was? It had a hole and kind of like that on one side. It's really, I will tell you this, when the Warchant starts there against Georgia Tech and the band plays, it is going to be absolutely electric and very, very loud for Florida State.
Yeah, they've got the open end in the one end zone. So it's kind of like a combination of so many different places that the NFL has had over the years, or college football stadiums. I see a lot of Aviva because up here at the local pubs, they have all of the Gaelic sports, all of the Irish sports, and that's a centerpiece place for Six Nations. It is for Irish football, for hurling, for all these kinds of things.
Oh, yeah.
And every time I do, they're sick of me over there. I'm like, I'm going to be there in August. And like, we know college football, wonderful. But you better have it on. You better have it on one of these televisions. Come on now.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. And I by the way, let's bring it back for a second to something Ira just said. Those meetings next week are going to be fascinating. I mean, absolutely fascinating, because this is unlike any situation since we've joined the conference. There's no getting around this now that last year, some of the rhetoric, it was out there, it was known. Obviously, comments disparaging the ACC and Florida State's place in it went both ways. You had some of the founding members pushing back against Florida State, frustrated that we were openly calling out the conference. They thought it was uncouth. We had obviously reached a point of no return. I said at the time, you don't air these grievances in a recorded meeting that you know are going to get picked up by people all over the country unless you've had it and you're at your wit's end. So the responses were kind of expected at the time. There was a chastising going both ways. But at that time, Clemson hadn't joined the fight. North Carolina hadn't mentioned that they kind of believed in what Florida State and Clemson were doing. At that point, there were no hints that the administration at UNC was saying, they may be onto something here. Of course, at that point, you didn't have new conference members on their way in the form of SMU and Cal and Stanford. So a lot of things have changed since last year's spring meetings, and it's only gotten more acrimonious. I cannot fathom that this thing's going to go off without a hitch. Now, I'm not saying we're going to be watching, guys diving across the table to throw punches at one another, but I can't imagine that this will be a situation where we don't see jabs being taken. I mean, they're in litigation. They're fighting in a court of law. They hate each other.
Well, I think that's why they'll be more tight-lipped and diplomatic than we're hoping for, because there is ongoing litigation. You don't want to say the wrong thing that inflames an argument against you in a court of law. And then I think if anybody's going to be the aggressor from a rhetoric standpoint, it's going to be the teams, the programs that are suing, not the ACC, because Jim has got to prepare for the contingency, however unlikely, that we're sticking around for another year, that Florida State and Clemson's going to be around for another full calendar year. It doesn't do him any good to say inflammatory things other than we're extremely disappointed that we have to be going through this process, but we're going to let it play out. So I really think it's going to be a nothing burger in terms of what Jim says, but I am fascinated to hear what the other dignitaries say. And it is the 1-year anniversary of that Magnificent 7 tweet. Remember that one from McMurphy, which we show up and it felt like it was a leak to get things to move along faster that ended up not being true. But you wonder if there might be some language from another athletic director that implies defecting, like from a Virginia Tech, like from someplace else that hasn't really entered the fray, except for these rumors that they have sent their legal counsel to go review the document itself, the grant of rights.
Apparently, it's not going to be from Radakovich because he has trumpeted the ACC while at Miami, saying that, hey, we have a clear path into the postseason, into the 12-man playoff field. Why would we leave? We like it here, basically. It was all of those things. Now, that reeked to me of a program that didn't have anywhere to go, and so that's why they're going to do that for now. But I think you're right. I think you'll hear from maybe a Virginia Tech, perhaps an NC State, perhaps a Louisville. I don't know what Louisville could do, but if they even have a landing spot. Any school that does speak up, Tom, may be playing their hand a little bit in that it's obvious for Florida State and Clemson. It's not as obvious for everybody else. If a school that hasn't spoken up to this point does so in any way over the meetings at Amelia Island, it would suggest that perhaps they too have had some overtures off the field of play about where they could end up if they were to jump on board the escape raft.
Yeah, you're looking for those nuances and you're looking for who's picking what side. Because if they come out, if you have an athletic director that comes out like Radakovich, and let's say it's from, Wake wouldn't be a shocker, but maybe like Louisville, for example. Let's say Louisville's AD comes out and says, I'm horrified by what Florida State and Clemson have done to shake the foundation of this conference. We've just brought in new members, yada, yada. That tells you that Louisville has no offers to go anywhere, and that would be information to you. So, yes, I think that can go both ways. You might hear some nebulous language that says, hey, we're open for business. We're taking phone calls. Maybe we already took one. But then you may have some people that, put their foot in the ground and say, this is the line. You crossed it, and we've got no chance to cross it ourselves. So we're going to take this opportunity for a PR boon and double down our support for Jim and Team ACC.
Say goodbye to the folks in the chat. We're going to do probables. Goodbye, kids. Go find it. 93.3. Tom will put it in the